Here?
No, I'm not going in the middle.
I thought you said.
My nose is right here.
Here, you said here.
Hey, everybody. Okay, we're going to start in just a few seconds. Going to wait
Good
till you
morning.
have a few eyeballs with this. Okay, so if you're joining us now for the mini-series, we'd like you to like, share, comment on this post, start a watch party. All you have to do is click the share button on this post. You can share it to your page. You can share it with a friend or a family member. So go ahead and do that. We'll give you just a few minutes.
Not even a few minutes.
Not even a few minutes.
Yeah, 1 minute maybe. It is a great day at Trinity Chiropractic.
Yeah,
as always.
It's always a great day,
Yeah.
but today seems a little
No,
greater.
don't do it.
It's a little better today.
It is better.
Absolutely. It's Dr. Kristen's birthday today.
Oh,
Happy birthday. Should we sing?
We should
No,
sing.
we're
Oh,
not
yeah.
I think we should.
Okay,
sing.
let's go real quick. Ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Dr. Kristen. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
With
So
the
nice.
prowess of like Tonto and Frankenstein. It was
Perfect.
beautiful singing there. Amazing.
did
Happy
great.
birthday. It's going to be
Thank
a great
you.
year for you for so many obvious reasons. It's going to be the
So
best year of your life.
Thank
We're
you.
so excited for you. And if you're our patient, you know exactly what we're talking about, right? Little
All right.
code talk.
Okay, let's get started.
All right, let's get the party started here.
Okay, so this is week 2 of our Regenerate series. Today we're going to be talking about chronic disease and some things that play into it, and then how you can prevent that from happening. So, Dr. Alex.
Yeah, and last week was our first week, so if you weren't able to watch that video, you can go ahead on our either Facebook page or on YouTube, and you can go back and you can re-watch that video. And a lot of really good information. This is just going to be a continuation of that. And like what Dr. Kristen was saying, we're going to talk a little bit about chronic disease, right? And specifically about your genes and the way that you can turn on and off genes based on what you do, whether that's your diet and all other environmental factors, right? And so, for example, I get a lot of patients that come in here and they fill out their paperwork and I read over their paperwork, and they've been dealing with a certain disease for a long period of time, whether it was 5, 10, 20 years. And they say that the reason why they had that is because either their mom already had that or their dad had that, and that their doctor told them that they were going to have that for the rest of their life.
Yeah, it's like such a 1980s thinking of chronic disease.
Yeah, well,
right?
I mean, I wouldn't know because I was born in '92, but yeah,
Okay.
it's probably something like that. But there's new research out there that shows the opposite. And like I was saying, it's different environmental factors that will either turn on or off those genes. And like I said, that's based on your diet, certain vitamins and minerals that you may either be deficient in, right? And for an example would be the CFTR gene, right? Which if you have this gene and you do, if you're not doing the right things, right, you could end up having cystic fibrosis, which will then affect your pancreas long-term, which could then lead to things like type 1 diabetes, right? However, there are patients that have had that CFTR gene that was passed down by a parent, perhaps, that by radically changing their diet or other factors, they're able to completely reverse that diagnosis that's supposedly incurable, right? And that's just by turning on and off that gene, by doing the right things. And that's what we're going to get more into, right? And so if there's other diagnoses that you've been told have been incurable, put those in the comment, because we'd like to answer that if we don't get to that in this video here, so that we can help you out, right? But then also cancer, which a lot of people say that they were diagnosed with a certain cancer because either their mom or their dad had it, or they gave them a certain gene that led to a certain cancer. But that's not always the case, right? You can turn on and off their genes. Like, think about a person that has been smoking for over 40 years, right? It's not because they were born to have lung cancer. It's the environmental things that they've done over the 40 years that has led to the cancer.
Yeah, and it's not just like the obvious stuff like drinking alcohol and wondering why one ended up with liver cancer, or smoking and why one ended up with lung cancer, but You see here, fear fuels cancer. There's traumatic events in one's life that, if left undealt with, right, and unresolved, that those wounds, if you will, can lead to cancer. And so when we work with people, especially when they're healing cancer naturally, because it's one thing to do chemo and radiation therapy to kill the cancer, and sometimes it works to kill the cancer, but it's another thing to heal from the cancer, because the cancer was not caused by a lack of chemo or radiation. But in order for full healing to occur, we find that people have to deal with their fears, their emotion, the wounds that they've had. And once they're able to deal with that, it's like full healing and full resolution of the condition occurs. But it takes work. It takes work for sure.
And we'll get more into cancer in a couple of weeks, along with this mini series that we're doing, and also heart disease, which we'll also get more in depth with, which happens to be one of the biggest issues that we see is heart disease, which a lot of people say, well, yeah, because my dad had a heart attack or heart disease, that I'm going to deal with that as well. But there are studies that show that belly fat will lead to heart disease. And that's strictly based on what you're putting into your body, different toxins that you put in your body. So it's not because your dad had heart disease that you're going to deal with that. It's the environmental factors that will lead to that. And then also reversing metabolic disease, which we're going to get more into depth right now.
Yeah.
All right. So when we talk about reversing metabolic disease, we're talking about things like diabetes. So there's different types, like type 1, type 2, and even pre-diabetes. And when patients come in with these issues, they're coming in thinking that they're going to have, this issue for the rest of their life. This is a lifelong diagnosis for them, but that's not true. You can heal diabetes and pretty much any other lifelong thing that you have going on dealing with your metabolic system, just by healing on the cellular and hormonal level, which is giving your body the right environment. So like Dr. Alex said, putting the right things in your body, removing toxins out of your system, that allows your body to function and heal the right way. So even something as simple as your sugar levels, leveling those out, you can do that very easily by changing your lifestyle habits. Day to day, you can do that along with reversing insulin resistance and allowing your body to heal and function the way that it's supposed to.
Yeah, so how do we deal with insulin resistance and dealing with the sugar that leads to that? There's a couple of things that we want to talk about. Number one, wheat. Everybody thinks that wheat is great for them. However, wheat is 75% amylopectin, and amylopectin leads to insulin resistance directly. As a matter of fact, a publication from Harvard came out and said that on the glycemic index, wheat has a higher glycemic index than white sugar, believe it or not. So it is highly addictive, and it affects your insulin resistance significantly. And there's many other negative effects of wheat, like on your brain and how your brain functions, which we'll get into a little bit further on in the series. But for that reason, we don't recommend that anybody has any wheat, that cut it out of your diet. And some of you are very addicted to it, and I understand it. You might have to sit down and pray to 8-pound, 6-ounce baby Jesus to summon all the powers that you possibly can to overcome that addiction. But if you're reaching for wheat, you're causing metabolic disease in your body, maybe not in the moment, but over time for sure. Second topic is fructose. Fructose is a sugar that's found in fruit naturally, and it's interesting because we eat 50 pounds a year of fructose, and fructose is highly addictive as cocaine, as addictive as what's the painkiller where everybody injects it into their bodies, like when you're in the hospital? For some reason, it's leaving me right now. No. Just that it starts with an M. Anyways, it's super addictive, right? And we have 50 pounds of it every single year. It affects leptin, the leptin hormone, which tells your brain that you're full, basically. And so it reduces your ability to know you're full, and then it affects the liver. There's actually GreenMed Info on fructose alone has collated research on 70 different diseases that are caused directly by fructose. Okay, but I want to be really specific here. we're not in an epidemic of people eating too many fruit. As a matter of fact, when you eat a lot of fruit and you have the bioavailable and the biomolecular structure of fructose, where it's surrounded by vitamins and minerals and exosomes and a whole bunch of good things, it's actually excellent for your body. So we're not eating too many fruit. We're eating too many industrialized, chemicalized, hybridized concentrations of fructose, like high fructose corn syrup and simple table sugar, which has glucose and fructose in it, and it's leading to liver disease and 70 other diseases. And so wheat, fructose, and other toxicants, and we're not going to get into all of them, but other toxicants that actually affect insulin resistance. And so when you cut those out of your body, you will heal the level of insulin secreted by your pancreas, which allows your brain and your body to heal, and then your sugar levels end up healing. But it must be done. Otherwise, you can't heal. And that's why it's really frustrating dealing with people with metabolic disease, diabetes, and things like that, especially when they're working with a dietitian, right? Because the dietitian, if you read the recommendations, all of their stuff is wheat, and you can have some sugar, just not a lot. Well, if you have some sugar and some wheat, you're never going to heal from the disease. That's just the bottom line. And so you got to cut those out 100% in order to be able to reverse metabolic disease.
Okay, so here's some natural ways. We want to give you some kind of like tips to reduce insulin resistance. And there's just a few really simple ways you can do that. And the first ones are just incorporating different spices or supplements into your diet. So like turmeric, ginger, cinnamon, flaxseed. For example, I'm going to talk about turmeric and curcumin. So curcumin is one of the active ingredients in turmeric. And there's a study done with 240 pre-diabetic patients. So their blood work numbers and everything were almost to the point of having diabetes. So half of those 240 people took curcumin, which is the active form of turmeric, like I said. They took that regularly, and half took a placebo. So out of those 240 people, the people that took the curcumin, so half of those people, 0 of them developed diabetes, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But the other ones that took the placebo, 16% of those people ended up developing diabetes. So just by changing a simple thing in diet or taking a supplement can really help reduce the inflammation and help your body regulate the blood sugar levels the way that they should be.
Cool.
Yeah, and then also to learn how to fast, which if you've been in this office before, we talked about fasting before.
Yeah, definitely.
And it may be the thing that you guys hate us most when we recommend fasting, because a lot of times people think when we tell them to fast, they're just going to starve and that they can't eat, and that's not always the case. There's different forms of fasting that you can do that will help lower your insulin levels, and it will allow your body to heal and function like it's supposed to, right? So you can intermittent fast, which means that you only eat during a certain period of time during the day. So if you don't eat, let's say after 6 p.m., you stop eating your dinner, and then you don't eat again until, let's say, 10 a.m. or even noon, then you're only eating in a certain section of the day. That's going to allow you to control those insulin levels. Also, sunbathing.
Well, this is a good one.
This is a good one, right? Yeah. So the sun itself is extremely important to, increase your metabolism in the body, right? The sun directly increases the metabolism in your subcutaneous fat, which is the fat right below your skin. But not only that, it helps activate the vitamin D, which is from cholesterol. Right. So what we recommend is that you, especially down here in Naples, which is a little easier than, let's say, Michigan. Right. Yeah. But if you're down, we recommend at least 15 to 20 minutes of microdosing of getting 60% of your skin exposed to the sun. And what time of the days would be best?
Ideally, it's high noon, between 11 and 2.
Between
That's
11
and
yeah. Between 11.
It's almost the opposite of what the government recommends.
Yes,
right?
And also that microdosing is without sunscreen.
Yeah.
And then lastly, HIIT training, which is high intensity interval training. So HIIT training is so good because you don't have to go to the gym for an hour in the day. You can do it in 15 or 20 minutes. And what it is just getting your body moving for a short period of time to allow the increase of insulin receptors in your muscle cells, right? So then it will allow the insulin to come down by just activating those receptors.
Yeah, perfect. So the bottom line is it's real simple that you're in control. We always talk about having radical responsibility for your health. That wherever you are in health, whether you're super healthy or super sick or anywhere on the spectrum in between, that ultimately you're responsible for where you are. And if somebody's not doing well, it's hard to face that harsh reality. But ultimately, the responsibility lies on you. It lies on me for my health. I'm responsible for my health, not Dr. Kristen, not Dr. Alex, not an MD, not my parents, not my genetics. That's what science shows us today. So if you have metabolic disease, for example, and you're eating wheat, right, and you're eating tons of fructose, and you're not putting cinnamon into your body or flaxseed into your body to help regulate your insulin levels like that, that's to us insane. So ultimately, we're asking you to take responsibility for your health. You are to blame, and you are to praise for the level of health that you have. And so there's no other way around it. And if you're looking to point fingers, like we hear every day, somebody wants to blame their parents, or they want to blame this or that, or their work environment, or their home life, or whatever the case is, or the spouse, right? Oh yeah, always blame the spouse. That's the easiest way out, right? That is a lie, and you need to hear it from us that it is a lie. No blaming, gaming allowed anymore, that you are responsible. When you take responsibility, then you can sit down and look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm at cause. Therefore, if I'm at cause, I can work my way out of this situation. I can improve my health. I can reverse whatever chronic disease, whether it's diabetes or heart disease or cancer. I can reverse it. Because I make the decisions, I turn the genes on and off in the body, and I feel like that's empowering, that it's freeing, and it gives us hope. Because otherwise, like we have cancer patients who are told just recently, oh yeah, no, it was just an accident. You were just struck by it. Like what? That leaves you hopeless. It renders you powerless, and it renders you at mercy of a doctor. No, that's not how health operates. That's a total lie. Don't believe the hype. You're responsible. So take responsibility for your health. We're always here to help. We want to help. We love to see people heal and regenerate because you are capable of total healing and total regeneration. So what's on tap for next week?
Okay, so upcoming mini-series dates. We continue next Tuesday, same time, 9 o'clock on Facebook and YouTube, which we're talking about stem cells, which will be awesome. We haven't really done a talk on stem cells yet, so that'll be really cool. The immune system comes next, then followed by heart disease and cancer, brain health, and then reframing aging, all building up to our Regenerate event.
Awesome.
So yeah, we're looking forward to it. Please join us.
But today's all about Dr. Kristen.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Dr. Kristen. Wish her happy birthday if you see her today. Awesome.
Okay, we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for joining us.